Hello everyone. So it's Siley here. I welcome you from behalf of Just for Hearts. So today our session is on Superwoman Syndrome. The topic is very different and interesting. So our expert is Varsha Vartak ma'am. So I will just give a little brief about her. She is clinical psychologist and working in this field since 8 years, and also she has experience in doing stress management, doing lifestyle balance management, healthy. Also she is doing many healthy parenting sessions also, and much more things. So I will not take much more time and hand over to ma'am, and let's start with the session.
Hello everyone. I hope you all are safe and at home. So today's topic is Superwoman Syndrome. Yeah, the name suggests that the thing Superwoman, we all dream of become a Superwoman, and somehow in that process we try and compromises many things. So what Superwoman is actually? Superwoman Syndrome is exactly what the name suggests. It's trying to be a superwoman. If you are a woman who feels pressured to be able to do everything on her own, if you work really hard to fill multiple roles, if you are really trying to juggle between family, your career, and your social life, yes, you are kind of a superwoman. And at the same time, Sally, can you hear me?
Yes, I am able to hear you.
Okay, and I'm visible, right?
Yes, completely.
So yeah, there was some issue, network issue last time, so I made sure that I'm visible and I'm audible. Okay, so next in the Superwoman, so the more often you all are trying, and if you are trying to fulfill all the roles you have in your life, the more you are trying to become a superwoman. But is it a good thing? Being a superwoman is a good thing? No, it's not actually a good thing, because when you try to become a superwoman, you tend to make few compromises with yourself. I mean, you, if you're focusing on your kids, you are somewhere ignoring on your health. If you're focusing more to your office life, your career, you are lacking somewhere in your homely duties. So it's okay. I mean, it's okay if you're not a superwoman. That's actually a good thing, because if you continuously try and become one, you are more tend to be a woman who have this syndrome. So Superwoman Syndrome, the myth that you have to be a superwoman, I'm going to burst that myth today. We are not going to be a superwoman. We are humans, right? So let's behave like one. We are allowed to make mistakes. We are allowed to do some things which are not acceptable. We are allowed to take care of ourselves. And most importantly, we are human. Just let's accept that we are humans. So yeah, superwoman is not a good thing. If you are trying to continuously wear that cape, you are burdened with a lot of unnecessary stress. Yeah, the main factor Superwoman Syndrome triggers, that is your stress level. So if you are a victim of this Superwoman Syndrome, the more concern is about your health, because the Superwoman Syndrome increases your stress levels tremendously. And Superwoman Syndrome is basically trying to please other people, trying to be a little good girl. So basically, this Superwoman Syndrome is present from 13 years till the time you live. So the girl who is a 13-year-old is trying to work really hard in her school, is trying to please her parents, she's trying to be a good girl, the ideal child. So she's also a victim of Superwoman. And if you have a tendency toward people pleasing, you somewhere compromises on the things and try and keep everything ideal around you, try and arrange everything perfectly around you. So yes, That is another symptom of superwoman. So now the symptoms we are talking about. So first is if you have a tendency of people pleasing, if you have a tendency of seeking attention. Yes, we all seek attention. Let's not deny it. I also do that. You also do that. So yes, attention seeking is a normal human tendency. So if you have that little bit more than the usual, then that is another symptom. The third is like if you have that feeling that yes, I can do it all on my own. The third symptom, most important one. The fourth one is if you always want to feel accomplished. That is another thing which you have to stop and think about, because that is another symptom of being a superwoman. If you have a so low self-esteem that you try and compensate in other areas, that is also another symptom of being a superwoman. The last but not the least is always trying to be a perfectionist. Yes, it's a good to be a perfect in everything, in every role or in every task you are challenged with. But it's okay if you fail in few tasks, because that gives you the experience you need to overcome the failure. So always perfectionists are perfectionist in one area or maximum two. The other areas they have to think whether they are doing everything perfectly or not. So it's okay if you're not perfect all the time. So basically, superwoman who is burdening herself, who is basically trying to be a good mom, a good professional, community organizer, good activist, volunteer, socialite. Young girls and aged women are also facing this, and they all are part of the superwoman syndrome. And because of the societal pressure, or maybe sometimes we ourselves burden us with a lot of pressure which is not necessary. Exactly, so that is the reason why we are victim of the superwoman syndrome. So by now I think you all are clear that this superwoman syndrome is not something you will like to have. So let's see how we can manage that thing. So there are few things which I want to discuss before how to manage the superwoman syndrome. The first thing is you have to keep in mind that superwoman is a good person, not that the person who or a woman who is a superwoman is a bad person. She is just duty oriented, very responsible, and truly desires to do what is right for herself and for her family and for others. So, a superwoman is not at all a bad person, but the condition she is suffering from is something which is burdening her, which is not a good condition. So, being a superwoman gives you a lot of stress. The stress factor, as we call it. One reason why having a superwoman syndrome can be dangerous for women is a stress that it induces, because it leads to many health related issues. If you have a high level of stress, first of all, your stress hormone, the cortisol in your body increases. It leads to higher level of blood sugar. It leads to many other cardiovascular deficits. So yes, the stress factor is more important, as we always talk about how to manage your stress levels. This one thing I want to add, that don't try and be perfect, don't try and be there for everything. It's not necessary that you have to be omnipresent. You are humans, so just make sure that you are breathing, you are taking some time for yourself, you are thinking about all the things which are going around you. Just don't act like machines, just give that some benefit of doubt to yourself. So this stress factor is important because it's affecting your mental health and your physical health, and the stress is increasing because of the constant pressure of being a perfect mother, wife, um, a employee, or a social activist, or any other platform where you are trying to be perfect or number one. So that is one. Another dangerous thing about superwoman syndrome is that that pill popping superwoman. Yes, you heard it right. So the feeling of overwhelm, anxious, and stress can lead to many addictions, from tea and coffee addictions to the painkillers and stimulants and other depressants. So what happens is, few people use tea and caffeine addiction to make it true, but many women are using the pills, which are worse and more dangerous for your health. For example, if you are constantly working throughout the day, and at the end of the day you have a headache because your brain is constantly working, and what you do is you just take one painkiller, and you take it with the water, and you don't know whether you actually need that painkiller or not. If you have a fever, you don't go to the doctor, you just take a paracetamol. So this pill popping is something which is also a side effect of being a superwoman, because you want to be there the next day. So you just take painkillers or stimulants, or without a proper monitoring and without a proper prescription, because in India, at least here, we have it over the counter available for us. So make sure you're not letting yourself to that symptom, pill popping syndrome, which is also a counterpart of Superwoman syndrome. So basically, these are the things you need to keep in mind, that whenever you are given any task, you are completing that task with maximum efficiency. But it's okay if you lag somewhere, and it's okay to be on the second number, because if you are trying to be at the top in every front, on every front, you are going to have that much amount of stress, because you want to be a perfect for your children, you want to be good for your partner, you want to be an ideal daughter, you want to be a perfect daughter-in-law, you want to be a perfect socialite. So yeah, for a human, that is actually impossible, because if you do all these things, and if you look at the time you're spending with yourself to maintain a good mental health, you will come to know that you're not giving sufficient time or enough time to yourself. So yes, you just have to stop and think about all the burden you're carrying on your shoulders, and you have to prioritize the things. And at the same time, don't forget that a woman is a woman. You don't need to be a superwoman. We are already blessed with the power of multitasking. So we are already juggling between families and careers, and the other responsibilities with which comes with being a daughter, being a daughter-in-law, and a good person, the societal responsibilities as well. So yeah, you don't have to be perfect in everything. You are allowed to make, that it's okay if you make few mistakes, because that will give you the experience, and that will give you the strength to overcome that mistake. So it's okay if you make few mistakes. You will learn in that course, and you will do the right thing next time. So you are human, you are allowed to make mistakes, you are allowed to give time to yourself. So there are few things we are going to discuss about how to overcome this syndrome. There is a way out, obviously, from the Superwoman syndrome. So first thing, that you have to heal from that I have to do everything and do it all well attitude. And you need to practice and try the few things I'm going to tell you now. The first thing and the most important thing is assertive training. Learn to express yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, all while respecting the rights of others. Assertive behavior can actually prevent problems that are potential, that have potential of creating stress, or that have potential of creating conflict between two people. So assertiveness is most important. We often don't know how to say no to things, but if you notice that something is not in your reach, or something is overpowering your other responsibilities, then please say no assertively to other people. The second and the important thing is support system. Build your own support system from your family members, from your friends, from your office colleague. Have your own cushion cushion of people who will support you in situation where you're feeling, or where when you are stressful, or when you need emotional help. So people can give a help and comfort during times when there is a lot of stress. So build your own support system. Third thing is learn to delegate and ask for help. For God's sake, please, if you have a leverage, if you have a resources available, you really don't have to do everything on your own. If you have kids who are old enough, ask them to help you with the housework. Ask your partner, your family members to help with the daily routine, to help doing things at home, especially in this lockdown. You have to ask for help. You have to delegate few things to other family members, so that you will have that required at least half an hour for yourself. So delegate and ask for help. If it is too much for you, go and tell that it is not possible for me to do everything on my own. And it's really okay if you ask for help, because you're a normal human being. You have limits, and there are people around you who can help you. Just because you're doing everything on your own, people might think that she doesn't need help. But it's okay to ask for a help, and it's okay to delegate some work. So that is the third point. The fourth point is let go of perfectionism. Realize that your house doesn't need to be clean, or I would say the perfect all the 24/7. It's okay if you make sure it's clean, but it's okay if few things are laying here and there, because since it's lockdown, nobody is visiting I mean, nobody is visiting your house. So it's okay to keep something for keep few things for later. So yeah. And another thing, your meal times. It's okay if you don't serve your dinner at sharp 8 every night. It's okay to be delayed by 15-20 minutes or so. So it's really impossible to be perfect all the time. It is like a burden you're carrying all the time on your shoulders. So let go of that perfectionism, and you have to do it because it's for your own good. If you try to be perfect all the time, if you are trying to be there all the time, it's going to be more stressful. So you have to let go of that perfectionism. um, Fifth point is make sacrifices. When I say sacrifice, yes, maybe sacrifice work to stay home, or now since we are working from home, so maybe sacrifice 1 or 2 hours from your work to do something which gives you some happiness or some pleasure, or vice versa. If you are working on something and it's actually interesting, and you have some household work which you have to complete, you can at least keep that work for on a hold, and maybe downsize the work, and it will give you that required time. So you have to sacrifice few things. And another most important thing is maybe downsizing your home. Your requirements will help you, because now we all know that we live with very limited resources in last 50 days. So we know that our requirements are not as much as we always thought. So it's okay, you can live without few things. Try and focus on your need instead of your wants. So yeah, what you need is more important, and not what you want in future. Yes, of course, that is your goal, and that is something which motivates you. But for now, for few moments, just take a deep breath and focus on your needs instead of focusing your wants. The sixth and the last thing which I'm going to talk about is take time out for yourself. When I say this, I always say that exercise, do some kind of activity which gives you pleasure, pursue your hobby. If you like cooking, cook. If you like playing with your child, do that. And you just have to do it for yourself. So you have to take that time for yourself, at least 15-20 minutes, half an hour. If you can spend 1 hour with yourself, that is amazing. But if you don't have that much time now, you are doing everything on your own, even at your house, helps are not available. So but you have to make sure, yeah, that you're giving that some me time every day to yourself. Because what you can do is, you can just sit, relax, take a deep breath, just enjoy the surroundings, have a cup of coffee. You can talk to your loved ones, you can talk to your friends. The video calls are now very frequent, so you can do that, or you can read a book. Or if you don't want to do anything, just sit and relax. That time out, your time out, will give you the energy to overcome all the stress levels this Superwoman syndrome is producing. So yeah, you have to make sure that you are giving sufficient time to yourself. And another thing I want to say here, that it's okay. I mean, this is especially for the students, because all the girls who are in school and who are in college, um, they are actually very confused, because the exams are going to be there or not. And what you're trying to do is, you're trying to excel in college, you're trying to be best in sports, you are trying to be best in other activities, and you simultaneously try to look good and perfect all the time. You are trying to focusing on your career, and this lockdown is making it difficult. So instead of burdening yourself with extra load about the feelings, that how you are going to cope with this situation, and how you can be more I mean, how you can put more and become the perfect or number one, is something which is giving you stress. So students and the teenager girls, please give yourself some time. And it's okay if you don't succeed in all the areas. So it's okay, just give yourself that free way to express that these things I want to do, and these are the things I might do, but it's okay if I don't do everything on my own. So I'm saying this because the girl who is as young as 13 is suffering from Superwoman syndrome, according to the newer studies. So 13-year-old is suffering from Superwoman syndrome is something alarming, because in today's world, everyone wants to be a perfect person or a perfect human being, and that is giving many of us higher level of stress and anxiety. And it is ultimately hampering our mental health and our physical health in the course. So you just have to make some changes in your daily routine. You have to accept few things, you have to let go of few things, you have to make few changes. You have to delegate some work, you have to ask for help if you think that these are the things which are bothering you. Most importantly, you have to build your own support system, and you have to be assertive when you don't think you can do something. So you have to be assertive. When I see this, the assertiveness is something we fail to uh, we fail to practice, because what we do is we don't say no to people, and that leads to high level of complications. So yeah, you have to say no when you know that you can't do something on your own, and something is above your level. So this assertiveness is very important to maintain a good mental health as well. So I'm just going to do a quick recap on what we said today. So first thing is that Superwoman syndrome is not something which is good. It's basically a woman, a normal, ordinary woman who is good in whatever she do, is trying to be a perfect, or is trying to be a superwoman, who feel pressured to be able to do everything on her own, who works really hard to fulfill all her roles, who is juggling between family, career, and social activities. So these are the things which makes you a superwoman. Being a superwoman is not going to give you a healthy mind, because it is going to give you a lot of stress. So that is another thing we discussed in last 20 minutes, that stress is the main factor which is concerning when you have a superwoman syndrome, because it leads to a tremendous amount and dangerous amount of stress. So in the recent studies, they found out that the women who are between 25 to 34 years, one third of women in the study use food consumption as a mean of coping with their problems. Why this is happening? You have a higher level of stress. You many at least there are 70% of people who do emotional eating. So there are women who use food consumption, especially the junk food, as a coping strategy. So that is another thing which gives you heart issues, and which gives you health issues. So you have to focus on your mental health as well. And if you want to be a good human being, you don't have to be a superwoman. Superwoman is not a bad person. Superwoman syndrome is something which is making you to be a perfect in every area, and it's something which is affecting your mental health. I'm saying this again and again, that superwoman is not a bad person. She is just a very good person who is very responsible, very duty oriented, and very truly desires to do what is right for everyone around her. So third thing which we discussed is pill popping. So there are feelings like feeling overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, and which leads to many small symptoms like headache, stomach ache, back aches. And what we do is, we, without any prescription or without seeing a doctor, we just take one painkiller, and just because we have to uh, pull through the day, and we become somehow addicted to those painkillers, and which can cause a very adverse effect on your health, because painkillers, stimulants, and few people do use central nervous system depressants. These drugs are helpful when they are actually necessary, but for a healthy woman, taking them, they can take a toll on your sleep patterns, and the ability to focus and relax. Also, pill popping can lead to a cause of irregular heartbeats, which could result in cardiac death. So yes, pill popping is another thing which comes with the superwoman syndrome. In 80% women, they have seen this pill popping syndrome also present in the superwoman syndrome person. So make sure you're not taking any medicine without any prescription or without any monitoring by the experts. So that is the third thing we discussed. And the last, but the most important thing is how to heal from the superwoman syndrome. So I told you about the six strategies. First is assertive training. Second is support system. Third is learn to delegate. Fourth is let go of perfectionism. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to give yourself that benefit of doubt. Fifth is make sacrifices. Yes, it's hard, but you have to do it. You have to downsize your priorities, and you have to downsize your few wants and needs. And sixth, but not the less important thing, is take time out for yourself. You have to give yourself that much required time, so that you can focus on yourself, on your mental health, meditate, exercise, pursue your hobby, do things which gives you happiness, pleasure. And if you don't want to do anything, just sit and relax, close your eyes, experience every breath. It will give you the required energy. And maybe the best advice here I can give you all is basically to learn to let go and learn to say no. There is a hope in overcoming your superwoman syndrome. You just have to practice few things, you just have to let go of few things, and you just have to know how to say no to things, and you just have to be the normal person you are. You don't have to be the superwoman or the super mom or the super wife or super daughter-in-law or super daughter. You are a normal person. Just give yourself that doubt. And I hope you can do that, and I hope it will help you to manage your stress levels. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the session. This is a vast topic. I tried to cover as much as in the 30 minutes. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much, ma'am. It was really wonderful topic. We have some questions from the viewers, so I will take that. Is being superwoman completely bad?
No, as I said, being a superwoman gives you a lot of stress. Being a woman is something which gives you the superpower of multitasking. So superwoman is not a bad person. I mentioned that earlier as well. Superwoman is not actually a bad person. In fact, you are a very good person if you're trying to be a superwoman. You are trying to fulfill all the needs and demands of your family members and other resources. But it is giving you bad mental health. It is giving you the stress levels which are not good for your health. So yeah, being a superwoman is why we call it a superwoman syndrome, because there you are not focusing on your mental health and physical health. So yeah, being a superwoman is a bad thing if you're not focusing on yourself, on your health, mental health. But you're not bad person. You're not a bad person at all.
So the next question is, just a second. Can you share some techniques to express feelings?
First of all, yeah, you have to see whether you can discuss it with someone. We have at least one person in our lives with whom we can share everything. So you can start with that person. And if you don't have that, the experts are there available, and you just need to make a right call, and you just have to seek for a professional help if you are not getting it around you. So you just have to start with the baby steps. You just cannot run directly. Start sharing few things, and once you build the confidence about the person you're sharing it with, you can share more. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. We have many questions, but due to time concern, we will answer it in the evening session also. So I will just share the evening session details. So here are the details with us. We have session in the evening with same Varsha Vartak ma'am. So it is at 5 p.m. To 6 p.m. on YouTube live. So everyone join there also, dealing with postpartum
Postpartum depression.
yes, depression. And we are going to be live on YouTube, and also you can ask questions over there. I'm just going to share a poll now, so everyone will able to see that poll, and you can give your feedback. So the poll is over there on your screen. So I request you all to share your feedback. Okay, so